You're listening to the Create What You Speak podcast, where I invite you to come along with me as we shape our own reality together. My intention is to bring out the magic in you. Now let's get started.
Run away from the humdrum. We'll go to a place that is safe from greed, anger, and boredom. We'll dance and sing till sundown and feast with abandon. We'll sleep when the morning comes and we'll rise by the sound of the bird song.
My name is Sloan Fremont, and today I'm going to talk to you about how it's okay to go.
I've been down on my knees, praying things I don't believe, hoping that it'll save me. So I decide to be happy. I've been down on my knees, praying things I don't believe.
All right, welcome to the Create What You Speak podcast. I am so glad you are here. If you're a new listener or if you've been around for a while, I want to remind you to make sure that you're subscribed to the show in your favorite podcast app. My shows are posted every Monday, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss an episode. Also, my show is part of the Web Talk Radio Network, and Web Talk just did a whole upgrade on their website. It looks amazing, it's fast, it's easy, you can see all of our shows on there, previous shows, descriptions, you can search. So if you want to check that out, go to webtalkradio.net. All right. So this week I'm recording in Destin, Florida. I took off earlier this week and headed down here because it was time for me to go. I had to go somewhere. I had to get out. I had to go. I had to do something because I couldn't stand another minute being home. And that's our topic this week, how it's okay to go. And, you know, for me, I feel like I've been stuck inside and I forgot how it was to be able to go somewhere. And maybe you're feeling that way too. I mean, it's not just me going through this, right? Sometimes it's easy when we're in our own world to feel like that maybe it's just us that things are happening to, but it's not. It's everyone, right? Everyone's going through this in their own way. And so I drove down here to Destin and like I said, I just had to go. And it's been such a great time here. I mean, it feels normal for me. I mean, yesterday I was able to go sit at a bar and order food and drinks and look out at the ocean, and it was perfect. It was just perfect. And I was actually talking to my mom this morning about that, and I was like, God, it's so, these little things that we took for granted before, like, I'm just so happy to be doing those now, right? Those things that we never thought we would be without. And so I'm really happy to be here and enjoying the sun and the sand and all that comes with that. So I wanted to talk about, like I said, just this whole thing about it's okay to go, because I was thinking about this when I was driving down here and what I wanted to talk about this week. And as you're listening to this, this theme of this topic this week of it's okay to go, it's going to mean something different to everyone. And it could even mean something different depending on the day of the week that you're thinking about this, right? Like, this isn't just, about one thing. This could be about any or many things in your life. So take what resonates with you and leave the rest this week, okay? Okay, good. We're clear on that. So, all right. So, obviously we're all still going through such a weird time with so many changes and so many unknowns and the uncertainty and the opening and the shutting down and the this and the that, or, whatever it is. And those changes, as we've talked about, and as you're experiencing, can be difficult, right? They're difficult to navigate. And, we're all doing, like I said earlier too, we're all going through this in our own way. So, if you're struggling to find your way in the midst of things, or maybe you're not able to reconcile what's going on and you're angry or sad or anxious or depressed, or maybe you've gotten in a groove and you're doing and feeling good right now, or maybe you go through all of these things, even in a matter of like an hour. I found myself that I can go through this state of like feeling settled and okay, like I feel okay, to the rage and the anger and then the hopelessness and the despair. And I just want you to know, no matter where you are, it's okay, right? Like, where you are right now is okay. And as we learn to navigate things now and in the near future, and I'm not going to say new normal because I hate that phrase, but as we learn to navigate things, as we're all experiencing just these epic levels of change in our lives. And often with change, we have to let go of things in order to move into that new space energetically, right? Like we can't hold on to the old expecting the new to come in because we just energetically haven't made the space for it, right? We're looking back. We're continuing to look back instead of looking forward. And I know I spent a lot of time in that. Like I still do a lot of time in looking back and like wishing it was this way or that way, or like, why can't we just go back to this? Or, why can't it be like that? And, it's unfortunately right now not up to us, right? It's not up to us. And so one of the better ways I found to deal with this is instead of looking back, like to look forward and see what I can manage or, change or take on in my own life that gives me that feeling of like I have some control back, right? Like I have something that I can feel a little grounded in. And I think like I said, with change it comes, we have to be willing to go through kind of that messy stage. And I talked about this really early back on the show, I don't know, probably like in the first year of the show, the first, I'd say 10 episodes, I talked about this somewhere in there about this. And this was about when I moved to Nashville and I completely changed my life in like 3 months. I did it so fast and so quick, and it even like blew my own mind. But, there was this period when I went through this, when I quit my job, I sold my house, I moved to Nashville, got a new job, bought a new house. And there's this in-between period that like nobody talks about, right? It's like I described it always as like this tornado comes in and like everything is up in the air. You have no idea what's going on. You really can't see how it's going to land or how it's going to work. And it's the point where you want to like crawl up in your bed and, get into a little ball and just cry and just have it all end. I think we've probably all been there. And I specifically remember this with moving because, it was so overwhelming and it was so intense for me. But, that's what has to happen, right? Like we don't walk from one door, we don't open the door and then walk into the new life with everything already there, right? That takes time. That takes, whatever organization it takes, like of course with moving, right? I have to pack up. I have to get everything loaded up. Then I have to go find a new place to live, all that kind of stuff. So there's this period with change where it feels like complete shit. Like it feels like you're doing it wrong, or it feels like you're like, like you're it's bad or whatever it might feel like, right? It feels just uncomfortable as hell. But with any type of change, sometimes I think we just have to come to terms with the fact that it's just okay to go. Whatever that going is, right? In the case of moving, like I just had to be okay with willing to say goodbye to some things that honestly did not make me happy in order to move into something else that I thought and hoped would make me happy. And it did. I mean, in the end, here I am, 3 years now, 3 years now that I've lived in Nashville. So, and I think this, it's okay to go, as I'm talking about this week. I mean, like I said, that could mean anything for any of us listening here. I mean, it can mean leaving a job, a relationship, a friendship, right? The obvious things, or leaving, even an old version of ourselves for a new one that, maybe you discovered since you've had so much time to yourself now, like I have. Or maybe it means getting in the car and driving somewhere just to break up the freaking monotony and give yourself some space to breathe, right? Like that's what I did. I couldn't be in the house anymore. Like I had to go. It's time to go. And, or maybe this even means going back to something, right? It's okay to go back to something, right? Something you put off for a while, but now you have the time for it, or even going back to a relationship or even a job or a friendship or whatever, right? Like maybe you just needed some time to cool off and some time to think and some space, and it's okay to go back to something too. Or, it doesn't always mean you have to leave something. I think when, being like, it's okay to go, it can be, it's okay to go back to something too. And so we're really, you, the listener, you are the only one who can decide what this means for you. But I really liked this topic because it fits in with our monthly theme of I get to win. And I think whatever you go to, it should be something that makes you feel like you get to win, right? It should feel good. We talked about this on last week's show about getting to win. And what I meant by that was how, we allow ourselves to win with our own thoughts. Like we allow the best case scenario to prevail. Like we we drop it, as best as we can, the fear and negativity and the anxiety, and just decide that we get to win at whatever it is that we want. Like, we get to have it. We get to have the thing. Like we're not waiting for someone to grant it to us, or, okay, now it's your time, right? No, we get to decide in our mind that we get to have it. Like, we get to have what it is that we want. And I talked about this too, about this game I play with myself where I decide I get to win. Like, I get to win at whatever it is that I want. Like, I get to think those thoughts that are positive and feel good, and not assume the worst, and just decide that I get to have it. Like, is not whatever it is for me, right? And again, that changes hourly sometimes, even, but there's I think when we're alone with our thoughts and we're not doing, things that we have done in the past, that, it's really easy to get wrapped around our own selves and think that it's only us, or that, we're only having conversations with ourselves maybe, or we think nobody else will understand, or that no one else is in the same place, when really everyone is, right? And so it's easy to believe that these thoughts that we're thinking are the truth, and, they're not. We don't have to believe what we think. I mean, I've done several shows about this topic, about, you don't have to believe everything you think, right? You get to decide what it is that you want to believe. And so I think that, deciding that you get to win, and choosing that everything is working in your favor, that what you want is coming to you, right? And that everything is all right, and that you're on track, and that you get to win, it helps. It's like making that decision helps step into that energetic version of yourself that allows you to believe in you, right? It allows you to believe in you, because that's really, like, I think one of the biggest keys to being happy, to like living the life that you want, is believing in you, being able to trust and believe in yourself. And so as you move forward this week, think about this topic of how it's okay to go applies to you. And especially think of it in the context of this month's theme is like choosing that you get to win. And think about that, and, it's probably going to be the first thing that comes to your mind, but what's pulling you, right? Like, what's pulling you in, or what's pushing you away right now in your life? Like, if you move towards it, how does it feel? If you move away from it, how does it feel? And if you go towards it or away, either way, which one makes you feel like you get to win? Like, which one makes you feel like you're taking the step towards having what you want, towards believing in yourself, towards trusting in yourself, and even trusting that, the universe is going to help you and that you're on the right track? Think about that this week, and think what that might mean for you. Because like I said at the beginning, that's going to mean something different. It's going to be different. It could be anything. And that's one of the reasons also why I love this topic this week, because it's okay to can go any way that you want it to go. So this week, your magical intention to take away is, thinking about, I don't know if you do this, but I do this a lot. On a Sunday night, I'll set my intentions for the week, right? I'll intend on how I want my week to go. So I'll decide, usually I look at like health and finances and like personal goals, or even like energetically, how do I want to show up in the week, about even like relationships, like my relationship with my boyfriend, and, just anything, whatever it is for you. But I take, some time on Sunday to like intend my week. Like, how do I want my week to go in these different areas? And what do I want to accomplish this week? Like, is what I'm doing getting me closer to my goals, or am I pushing things off because I'm not interested in them anymore, or, or whatever it is. And so I think spending that time to like intend and plan your week is a really great way to start your week. And it's a really great way to take control of your week, right? Like, not letting it happen to you. Like, you get to decide how it goes for you. And so as you think about how you want your week to go, and intend it, right? Like, decide, I want you to remember that it's okay to go. It's okay to go towards what's pulling you in, and it's okay to go from something that's pushing you away, right? The choice is yours. And like I said, and I've said several times, but this is going to mean something different to each of you, and that's okay, right? The point in all of this, and I mentioned this also earlier, but the point is to start to trust yourself on this kind of stuff, right? Like, something is calling you, and most of us have had a lot of time to think about that, right? Or maybe we hear that voice more clearly now because we're not doing our normal things. And so this week, why not move towards that calling, right? Like, why not move towards what feels good and what feels exciting and exhilarating even? Like, why not move towards that, even if it's scary, even if you have no idea what the outcome or how, we don't have to know all of that. The only thing we have to do is decide and then take the next logical step. The next logical step. We don't have to have the whole map laid out and, okay, now I'm going here and I'm going there. No. Decide and take the next logical step. So this week, why not try it and just see what happens, right? Like, why not? And even though you don't need my permission, I want to make sure you know it's okay to go. All right, so that's it this week. I'm going to close out the show and talk about the songs I chose, and then I'll wrap up. But before I do that, I want to remind you of my course that I've developed called 33 Days of Magic, and it's available at 33daysofmagic.com. It's just the number 33, daysofmagic.com. And what this is I've got so many ideas for these types of courses that I want to develop, and I have 2 right now that are in the works. But these are really things that I feel are really important that I talk about on the show, and it gives you a way to take what you learn on the show one step further and apply it in your own life. And 33 Days of Magic in particular this was really fun for me to develop. It's really a daily practice that helps you to map out, decide what it is you want, and then energetically take the steps daily that will get you there. So I help you set your magic vision. I teach you the magic method. There's some reflection, and I have some in case of emergency affirmations for times when things are just a little too much. And so it was really fun to put together. I think you're going to love it. You're going to find a lot of value in it. So check out 33daysofmagic.com. All right, so let's talk about songs. So intro song that I chose this week is called Decide to Be Happy by MisterWives. I played one of their songs probably 3 or 4 shows ago called Super Bloom. And they did this like short EP where I think they released like 4 or 5 songs. And this Decide to Be Happy is on that same little release that they did. And this song, it goes, flowers don't grow in the rain, goodness don't grow without the pain. I've been down on my knees, praying things I don't believe, hoping that it'll save me, so I decide to be happy. And I know it's not always easy, but deciding that, just decide, right? And I think that I love this song. I love that message. And I think it's just a fun, uplifting song. So intro song is called Decide to Be Happy by MisterWives. And the outro song is on the other end of the spectrum. It's a fun dance song. We danced in this in one of my dance classes. It's called Savage by Megan Thee Stallion. I'm savage, classy, bougie, ratchet, sassy, moody, nasty, acting stupid, what's happening. I don't know. I just like the song. It's fun. It's fun to dance to. When we used to do our dance classes. Actually, I just went to a class a couple weeks ago and from one of my favorite teachers in Atlanta, and she played this song. And I don't know, just a fun song called Savage. All right, so that's it for this week on our topic of It's Okay to Go. I would love to know what you think. You can email me, sloanfremont@gmail.com. My website is sloanfremont.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast in your favorite podcast player. And I would also love if you left me a review. So that's it for this week. And remember, it's okay to go.
I'm a savage, classy, bougie, ratchet, sassy, moody, nasty, acting stupid, what's happening?